If someone says they want to buy your business and they can't answer these 3 questions in under 5 minutes, hang up the phone. There's nothing that's going to happen. They're not going to be a real buyer. It's not going to be a good use of your time. I'm Arthur Petropoulos, managing partner here at Hillview Partners. We're a middle market, lower middle market investment banking firm, helping companies typically generating $1 million to $20 million a year in pre-tax earnings or EBITDA to sell their companies into secure capital. We've seen enough deals. We have interfaced with thousands and thousands of buyers in the hundreds of deals that we've worked on. And what I can say is an important part of the exercise is separating the prospects from the suspects. Quickly ascertaining, is this a real buyer? Do they have a bona fide interest? Is this a good use of time? And if you do this long enough, if you see enough hands of cards at the poker table, you will quickly be able to determine, yes, this is someone we should be speaking with, or no, this is someone we should be passing on, and passing on quickly. One of the greatest losses in business don't come from necessarily bad outcomes, but come from wastes of time. And that's really what you want to avoid. So if you're not going to hire a banker, or even if you were going to hire a banker and they bring you these opportunities, if you're having a conversation with someone who says they want to buy your company, ask them these 3 questions. Tell them you want thoughtful answers to them. You don't need to talk about anything else. And I can give you a 90% confidence interval as to whether they're going to be a real buyer or not. So question number 1 is, what experience do you have in this industry? And the proper answer to that should be, I've spent 20 years selling widgets, providing these services, running these kinds of companies, and now I would like to own one. Now, you might be asking the question, well, I bought this business and I didn't have experience in the industry, or I know plenty of people that have bought and run successful businesses that don't have experience in a particular industry. Or these private equity firms, they buy lots of different companies, not just ones that they've owned before. And yes, that answer is correct. However, the question should elicit a thoughtful response. If you really wanted to buy a company and you were going to the seller of the company and saying, I want to buy your business, wouldn't you expect this to be a question? And if you did expect this to be a question, what would you want as the answer? If you said, well, no, I don't. However, I have been in these adjacent industries. Well, no, I haven't. However, I've been in these types of companies that are very similar, or, surprisingly enough, the provision of this service is very similar to the provision of that service, or the selling of this product is very similar to the selling of that product. You have to have an answer. And so the question is what matters, and having a thoughtful response to it. There's not a perfect answer, because not everyone's going to have had decades of experience in the particular industry that you operate in. However, there should be a thoughtful answer that indicates that they have at least contemplated this and have a coherent response to the question you ask. Well, the second question is, where is the money coming from? Again, you can ask a very simple question, and don't be tempted in these conversations to give people leading answers or to let them off the hook if they start to stutter and mumble and stumble. Just give it time. Tap your foot. Let them answer the question. So where's the money coming from? Now they could say, well, I've just got this gigantic safe in my basement with gold bullion, and I'm just going to take a few bars out of that. That would be a wonderful situation. But in many cases, that capital is going to come from different sources. Some of it they may get in a loan from a bank. Some of it's going to be equity. Some of the equity may be their money. Some of the equity may be investors' money. But the answer that you may get sometimes is, oh, we've got investors. And that always sounds pretty nice. Oh, great. Must be a few rich people or a big institution that has confidence in these guys, and they're going to just give them money and let them buy what we have. So a continuation of this question is, basically a 2-part question that we'll ask people sometimes is, where's the money coming from and what approvals are necessary? Right? Because that digs a little bit deeper to say, well, if it's not your money, whose money is it? And what do you need to get it? Because there's plenty of firms out there that will back people that want to buy companies. But when they say we are backed by private equity, a lot of times that private equity firm will just tell these people, yeah, go find us the greatest deal in the world. And then maybe if we really, really like it, we'll give you the money to buy it. And so that person then slaps the private equity firm's logo on their website. And then they go around the world kind of telling everybody, oh no, we're backed by Blackstone as we kind of pursue our candy apple making company empire or whatever. And say that a bit facetiously, but if they are backed by capital, that's not capital coming out of their own pocket. If they don't have check writing ability, you need to say, what is the process of actually getting approved? So yes, the money's coming from investors. That sounds good, but have they kind of pre-approved? Have they blessed the investments in this sector, meeting what parameters? Or And how many levels of approval? Does it need kind of like just a final approval from a board? Sometimes it goes to multiple approvals of the board. Is the investment committee all in-house? Are there outside board advisors that need to get brought into things? As you can imagine, there's lots of complexity. And so just getting to a handshake with someone saying, this is the deal we would like to do, just getting to, yeah, I really like this guy and their ideas, isn't going to cut it. And again, the same analysis that you would have on the equity side, you have to say, well, is it all equity or is there going to be some debt? Oh, there's going to be some debt. Where's it going to come from? Do you have relationships with these people already? What loans have you gotten from these people? Right? You have to dig a little bit. I think there's a way of being direct while also being diplomatic. But again, start the question with, where's the money coming from? What approvals are necessary? Again, there should be a coherent answer that doesn't just kind of drift off and say, oh, I've got a really rich uncle that maybe might kind of someday definitely maybe wants to do this with me. Now, question number 3 is, what is the path from where we are today to closing? And again, leave it open-ended. Don't make it leading. Oh, you're going to do diligence and then you're going to do this and then you're going to do this and then you're going to do this, right? And someone say, oh, yeah, that's what we do. But instead, say, what's the path from today to closing? Assume I wanted to do this with you. How do we get from where we are to where we want to be? And there should not be platitudes of, oh, well, we do a preliminary diligence and then we throw you an offer and then we do a deeper diligence and then we get the money and then we're closed. No, the answer should be, we are going to want to look at these 5 things. We would then bring it to our investment committee for preliminary approval, upon which we would issue you a letter of intent highlighting the value, the structure, the transition, the stakeholder considerations. Thereafter, we would go into a formal diligence where we would do a quality of earnings with a accounting firm that we already have selected. We would have a legal person do a sweeping for legal landmines and have them drafting a purchase agreement, consulting agreements, and any other relevant schedules and supporting documents. And we already have that attorney laid out. And we already have that attorney selected. And then we would proceed to a closing roughly 75 days after the signing of the LOI. That's the response that you want. I remember, I think it was an Elon Musk interview actually, where he said that his biggest interview question was to people was, tell me something difficult that you did and solved. And they'd say, oh, we solved this really big problem and we got this result. And then he'd say, no, tell me every single step along the way. And that was the litmus test as to whether they really solved it or they kind of saw it from a distance and then put it on their resume and usurped it as their own. And similarly, in this business of deals, everybody can kind of talk in platitudes and anecdotes and euphemisms of, oh, this is how it generally goes from this to this because that's what I saw when I was doing my 2-year stint in private equity, and now that I am the leader of my own one-person family office, right? And again, not to disparage, smaller situations can be bona fide, but you have to look at them twice as strenuously because there's plenty of people out there that are just trying to lasso deals and then run around and pray for the capital to come in, all while you're spending your time planning for the future, all while you're prohibiting yourself from talking to other people. And so you have to really protect your interests, and by asking people for a specific path, you can really test, have they thought this out? Do they have all the pieces in order? How does this race get from where we are to a closing? So to summarize these 3 ideas, if someone says they want to buy your business and they're the best person in the world that could ever want to buy your business and they really, really, really want you to take them serious, sit them down and ask them these 3 questions. Say, I have 5 minutes to listen to what you have to say, and I want to know the answer to these 3 questions. First is, what's your experience in this industry? And again, they don't need to have had it, but they have to have an answer to this. Number 2, where's the money coming from and what approvals are necessary? Again, pause, let them speak, listen to what they have to say. Is it clear? Are there a few contingencies or catalysts to get this thing to get capitalized, or is it 15 different things that have to happen in perfect succession that aren't going to happen? And third, assuming I want to do this with you, how do we get from where we are today to a closed deal? Right? No lead at all. Let them tell you the time increments, let them tell you the steps, let them tell you all of the different elements of it. And again, that's going to let you know as to whether this is just a fun summer project for them or if they actually have a plan and this is actually what they want to do with their life. This is a serious undertaking for you. You have worked for a lifetime in many cases to sell your business. The person that may want to buy it needs to be equally as serious and has to have equally as serious of a plan. Otherwise, you're just wasting their time, and much, much, much more importantly, wasting your time. Now, that is something we never let our clients do, and that's why we are zealously advocating for all of the businesses that we sell and find capital for. However, in the situation where you do not hire Hillview Partners, or you don't want a banker in general, which we would strongly advise against and have made plenty of videos, and we'll point in different directions, we can throw some thumbnails up, still, these are the 3 questions you want to have. Even if you're not thinking of hiring a banker, but someone just catches you, on the golf course or in Whole Foods or wherever it is and just wants to talk to you about selling your business, remember these 3 questions. What's your experience? Where's the capital coming from? What's the path from here to closing? If you don't get the answer that sounds believable, that can, while simultaneously be written on one side of a piece of paper, still be granular and detailed, then you don't want it. If it's too short and not thought out, pass. If it's wildly complicated and never going to actually happen, pass. You really want simple yet specific. And so that's the thought for today. Hope the week is going well for everyone. Keep pushing forward. God bless. We'll see everyone next time.